Hey, there we go.
Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go.
And the infinite feedback
This is
feedback
a
loop
demonstration
begins.
of Wirecast.
Hey, it's working. All right, cool. Um, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing right now, but I heard there's this thing called YouTube Live, and I figured I would give it a try. I have no idea where you guys are. I'm pretty sure there's like a chat room and a thing or something, but I seriously have no idea what the heck I'm doing right now.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Hey, there's somebody watching. I can see that at least. All right, yeah, this is pretty lame. So let me let me do something that actually makes sense. Hold on. All right, so actually, the reason why I'm doing this, I apologize. First of all, I sound like I'm sick because I am sick. I woke up this morning, my throat and my nose are all nasty. But so somebody sent me an email and asked me some questions about recording bass,
This is a
and
demonstration
I figured that's
of
exactly what I
Wirecast.
would try to do today. So yeah, let me answer some of these questions. Uh, excuse me. This comes from Makai. I think that's how you say his name, or maybe it's Micah. I don't know. But he says, "Hey man, I'm 17 years old and I play at church. I've been playing for about 3 or 4 years." And I'm giving you the short version here. He says that his church is working on a new album, and his music director asked him to play on it. And he wants to do the best that he can. So he's got a couple of questions, and I told him I would help him out with it. His sessions in about 2 weeks, he said. So looks like it's just 3 or 4 questions. I'll just kind of run through them. Micah or Makai. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. And man, I swear, if there's like a chat section on here or something, I don't know where it is. It would be really cool to see. Hold on, guys, give me just 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up somehow. Sorry. Like I said, this is my first time doing this. Hey,
This is a
hey, there's a
demonstration
chat
of
room.
Wirecast.
I'm here, over here. Hey, found you. Oh, hey, one bad bass and the Gunzer King potato. If you guys have questions too, feel free to chime in. Looking forward to any and all lessons you can send out. Yeah, Chris, I'm working on it. Oh, Isaac, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. I'm honored, dude. Okay, let me do this really quick. Let me answer Makai's questions here real quick.
This
And
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Then yeah, if you guys got anything, I'll check back on this chat board over here, and I can answer anything for you guys too. So his first question says, "Is there anything I should avoid doing, like certain techniques that would sound good live, but not so good on recordings?" Excuse me. I don't know if there's anything that works live that doesn't work in any other scenario, other than maybe you tend to
This is a
overplay live.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Do any of you guys feel that way? Daniel or Isaac or Chris? You guys, I feel like when I play live and and the energy is there and the band's happening and stuff. Sometimes I'll tend to play more just because there's more people, there's more energy, there's more of a vibe in the room, and so I tend to play more notes or just kind of take some risks that I normally wouldn't do if I was otherwise, playing in the studio or trying to do something that that's a little bit more strict. So I'd say that's probably the only thing that won't work so well in the studio is if you're just always going for it, always going for it, always going for it. Keep in mind it's going to be kind of more of a refined. You're trying to search for the best option, not for as many options. But as far as like any technique, like digging in hard or the bass sounds good when you play it. So if you do it live, you do it in the studio, it really shouldn't make a difference. But maybe you want to be a little bit more calculated in the studio. Uh, you know, Chris, you think you overthink things? Yeah, I definitely do that. Especially in the Pro Tools era, especially where we are right now, where you know you record and you're being yes, DJ, I do. Where everything's under a microscope essentially, and we're trying to be as perfect as we possibly can. DJ asks, "Do I eat beans while recording?" Because DJ has done many a session with me. That's exactly how we roll. Sorry, if you guys see this Wirecast thing that keeps
This
popping
is a
up on the screen, that's because
demonstration of
I didn't
Wirecast.
pay for it yet. It's like $600 or something. I don't want to do that. Okay, so Mike, Makai, I hope that helps you. The next question said, how should one prepare for their first recording session? I got to go back 15 years to think about what my first recording session was. I was 16 years ago. I was 14 years old. DJ, you and I were cutting our first record 16 years ago, man. How crazy is that? What was the question again? Sorry, I got lost. What should you? How should you prepare for your first one? Okay, obviously, number one, know the tunes, know what you're gonna do. But I'll say this: this isn't true for your first session. I mean, this is true for all of them. Smile a lot. I'm not kidding. When you're when you're working in a creative environment, like if you're acting or you're making music or you're just doing something that has some ego to it, we're expressing something from ourselves. If there's bad vibes in the room, they get amplified like times a million. So if someone enters the session and they're all flustered because they're late, or so and so wasn't ready, or this wasn't set up, or whatever the thing is, it amplifies 1,000,000%. And that kind of makes me feel weird, and then that makes the drummer feel weird, and then everyone gets all it's just weird, bad vibes. So just smile a ton, laugh, make jokes, don't take yourself too seriously, just have a good time. And what that's going to do, that's going to cause the next guy to smile. That's going to cause the next guy, and then the room is just you guys are having a good time. I'm sorry, I'm sick. I got something nasty happened in my throat right now. That's probably why I sound horrible. Where was I going? I don't know. Oh yeah, just have fun, have a good time. Because here's the thing: you're gonna leave that thinking, man, this was fun. I want to do more of this. And all the guys that you're playing with are gonna feel the same way about you. Man, that guy was awesome. That girl was awesome. I'm gonna do more work with him, more work with her. So it helps the session go well, and it also just guarantees everyone has a good time, and it'll get you more work. You guys have some excellent questions, and I'm going to get to some of these in just a second. How it would be helpful if you could share some mistakes you have seen or heard others make that would be good to avoid. You know what? Besides playing wrong notes, which actually even then that can be kind of cool because it can take you to a place that you didn't think you were going to go. So actually wrong notes can be cool. But I'll say this: I think it's kind of counterproductive to ask too many questions and give too many options. This is when you're working for a songwriter or a producer or an artist, a band, whoever it is. So it's not my music. I could care less about it. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to be done with it in 40 minutes, and I'll never hear the song again. So when it's somebody else's music, sometimes we ask too many questions. Do you want me to use this bass? What do you think about these strings? Do you want this palm muted? Do you want this? You want that? When you give them too many options, you just kind of overcomplicate things. And what I find more often than not is, 30 minutes later they go, hey, can you go back to doing the thing you did before? Or whatever it was. You just end up wasting 30 minutes or an hour or more just by, asking too many questions and giving too many options. Obviously, you have to ask enough questions to get to feel comfortable and to be able to execute their music. So, for instance, I was on a session this past Tuesday, and I was asking questions like, hey, do you want the verse to drive? Okay, choruses, let them open up, and then I'll come in on verse 2. You got to know how to navigate through the song. But 5 questions or less, and then I'm just going to play where the song is leading me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try not to give them too many options because, again, just more options, more of those things, it really just equals time wasted more often than not, and also equals more headache. If they're like, oh, yeah, I'll get a take of that, and I'll get a take of that, and I'll get a take of that. Now they've got 50 of your takes to go between, and they've got more work. So think of it this way. They hired you for the job. They want to know what you think. They want to hear what you're going to play. They want to know how you're going to interpret it. So, if I pick up a P bass with flats on it and I start playing, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to say, hey, do you want the rounds or do you want the jazz? I'm just like, this is what I hear for this song. And if they say, hey, do you got something else? Then it's like, all right, cool, yeah. What do you think about this? But try to keep things on track and just plow through, because that's another thing too. The faster you can work, the better. And he's got one more. He said, also, can you mention making the client happy? That was something that I said to Makai in the comments. And yeah, keep in mind that it's not your song, unless this is your music. But in this case, I'm talking about, I did 3 records this week. I did one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday, and I'm doing one tonight, I think. I don't know. there's a lot. I've been doing a lot of recording lately. And it's not my music. So keep that in mind. It's not about making me happy. It's not about, doing what I think is rad or what I think is cool. It's all about the client. It's all about the person who's hiring you or who asks you to play. So don't take anything that they say personally. I mean, if they say, don't do that, do something different. Or if they say, whatever, we're going for a different vibe here. Like, don't take offense to it. And it's hard. On my session on Wednesday night, I was doing a remote session Skype with a person in Nashville. So I played the song and I emailed it over to him, and I thought it was good. I thought I was done. And he called me back and said, hey, dude, it's great, this and that. Why don't you just change this and this and this and this, and then we'll be good. We'll call it a day. And I was like, what do you mean? The song's done. I feel really good about it. You don't like the way I did it? I mean, obviously, I ended up doing it the way he wanted it. But like, I couldn't help but sort of take offense to it. Like, I thought it was slamming, but okay, I'll do what you want. But that's the thing. Like, it's all about the person who's got to listen to the song a lot more than you are. So make them happy. Don't take offense when they're not digging what you're doing or they have suggestions. They're not attacking you. And it's hard to not interpret it that way because as a musician, like, I am my music. If you say you don't like my music, you're saying you don't like me. Well, that's not true. It literally just means that we're trying to get the right thing for the song, the best thing for the recording. And so, yeah, make the client happy. If they're happy, you'll get more work. You'll get, your name will get passed around for being someone who works quickly, who works efficiently, and you're going to like the results that you give. So that's my advice, Makai or Micah, for recording. Guys, I'm sorry, I've been neglecting these all these comments over here. So let me jump in on these really quick. Again, I apologize for how awful I probably sound. Okay, the Guns Are King Potatoes. I love that name. That's cool. It says, what gauge string do you use? That's a good question. I played the Dario nickel wound strings, and some of my basses are 45 to 105. Some of them are 40 to 100. Some are 40 to 95. It just depends on which instrument it is. Actually, there's a whole video that I just finished, and it's gonna go up live pretty soon. There's a new series I'm starting, and you guys actually, I'll tell you about it because you're awesome. It's called Game of Tones, and so it's gonna be an 8-week series, just talking about tone. And so one of the episodes I'm talking strings and gauges, sizes, different materials and stuff. So I'll get more specific in that video. But off the top of my head, typically, like 45 to 105 is like what's on most of like my jazz bass and my P bass. Daniel Owen, most definitely get pumped on the energy and tend to play more notes and more velocity. Yeah, that's something too that, the bass, I don't think it necessarily sounds better the more you dig in. But yeah, live, I tend to play really hard. I have a pretty soft touch, but yeah, in a live room, especially if I'm playing next to a drummer and I'm not wearing in-ears, yeah, I'll start digging in a lot more than I probably should. And that definitely doesn't translate to the studio, for the most part, I've found. Any advice for improving slap technique? Improving, sorry. I had jury duty today, too. I'm freaking exhausted. I'm sick and I'm tired. Advice for improving slap technique. Well, I guess I would have to see where your slap technique is at. So if Terry, if you want to send me a video or tag me in a video on Facebook or Twitter, you guys, I'm at Jamie Lewis on Twitter and Instagram, and at Jamie Lewis Bass on Facebook. And yeah, if you need some help with your slap technique, post a video of yourself. It can just be of your hands. You don't have to have your face or whatever. And just play something. And don't try to, if you want help, don't try to do something perfect. Don't spend 9 hours working on it. Like just pop up the camera and just go ahead and play. Let me see where it's at, and I can give some pointers on your technique.
Of Wirecast.
How do you learn all the notes on the fretboard? Dude, honestly, that's an easy one. Pure memory. And think of it this way. How many notes are on your fingerboard? If you're playing a standard Fender bass, I think there's 21 plus the open string, 22. 22 times 4 is 88 notes. Excuse me, but really there's only 12 because they're all just multiples of each other, right? So if you memorized, okay, so if you think about it, 88, like, oh man, that's a lot of notes. Well, let's break it down into just simple memory. If I just spend 10 minutes a day focusing on 4 notes, this is how terrible I am. I got to get out my calculator because I can't make this calculation on my own, right? But let's say I'm just going to work on 4 frets on just one string at a time. So today I'll work on frets 1, 2, 3, 4 on my E string, and tomorrow I'll work on frets 1, 2, 3, 4 on my A string, right? So that's 88 divided by 4. That's 22 days. You would have your whole neck memorized in 22 days. I'm telling you, it's easy, but it takes time. Obviously, you have to spend the time to work on it and memorize it. But memorizing the fretboard is one of the easiest things you can do. A kindergartner can do it. You have all the brain power. You had all the brain power to do it as a kindergartner. It's like memorizing the alphabet in 3 languages or something. It's really not that hard, but it obviously takes time and dedication. Like I'm saying, in less than a month, you can have the whole fingerboard member, and that's just 4 notes a day. What if you did 8? Well, then you would have the whole thing memorized in 12 days. You know what I mean? It's a math problem, so if you treat it like such, it's actually really easy. Yeah, DJ on a 6-channel roll and mixer. Yeah, dude, that was there. Those were the days, dude. Hey, we got to hang sometime. I know you said you're coming to town. How about you going to Hawaii? Never mind. We should talk later. Chris says, Jamie, any tips any and all tips on slap bass may help me on making my own style. Making my own style. You know what? There's a video also that that's coming out sometime in the next couple of months, I think, that literally talks about this, and I'll kind of give it to you in a nutshell. Which is hard, actually, because I don't have a bass on me, and I won't be able to let you hear it. But when it comes to taking someone else's sound and techniques and things and making them your own, I think the best thing you can do is play songs you already know. So let's say you're working on a Red Hot Chili Pepper song.
This is a demonstration.
Okay, could you play Santa Claus is Coming to Town using the lick or the riff from that Chili Peppers song, or Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? I mean, like songs that you couldn't possibly forget even if you tried. You think I'm joking, but honestly, like play a song you know already, a song you could play in your sleep, and use this new technique or this new idea or this new riff or this new thing, whatever it is, because that way now you're not juggling it. You're not learning a new song, learning a new technique and trying to get comfortable with it. You got the song down, you got the technique down. Let's just try to merge the two. You're juggling less things. And I know that kind of doesn't make sense. But like I said, there's going to be a much more in-depth video coming up pretty soon on that. So stay tuned, Chris. Part of the reason they hired you was take care of the details of the bass. Yeah, exactly. So, unless you're being hired by a bass player, they're not really going to care. They just want the sound good, and that's your job. You can make it sound good. So, definitely Mr. Mason Gray. Ever deal with a producer who had an exact bass line in their mind, but no musical ability to communicate it? All the freaking time, dude. Honestly, that's the bane of my existence is... sorry, guys, hold on. My computer's about to die. I got to plug it in. Wait, don't go anywhere. So now that everything has gone, Pro Tools and whatever, and I'm not dissing it. I love where music technology is at. I mean, look at this. I'm doing videos. I'm not a video guy. I didn't go to school for videos or anything like that.
Wirecast.
But I can do them, but I'd much rather have someone who likes to do it take care of all that for me. Sorry. Okay. Computer's not going to die now. But so one of the things is, we have people making music who otherwise didn't have the ability to in earlier periods of time. So yeah, you find yourself working with people who say like, oh, okay, I did a session 2 weeks ago, and the producer was big
This
time.
is a
He worked with Michael
demonstration of
Jackson. He's worked with
Wirecast.
Spielberg. He's worked with George Lucas. Like he was a big time guy, but not a musician, not anything musical. You know, and he was trying to explain like I want this song to have like kind of like a dancey vibe to it, and we were doing like this indie rock. You know, there was nothing for me to do except play eighth notes on it. So I was like, all right, so something dancey. So what are you thinking, like an eighth note drive, or like like a four on the floor, or something Billie Jean-ish or whatever? And it was just nothing coming from it. He was just like,
This is a
it just like
demonstration of Wirecast.
it needs the. It was just like pulling teeth. I could not figure out what he wanted. So I ended up just doing something that I thought was cool. And he was like, "Oh yeah, okay, we'll go with that." So honestly, excuse me, in those scenarios, that's probably what I do most often. Is if there's a language barrier, musical, or like he doesn't speak English very well, or I don't speak Italian at all. More often than not, I'll just revert to playing something that
This
I think
is
is
a
cool,
demonstration of Wirecast.
and I'll ask him. Dude, actually, I just realized that I'm not centered on this screen. Can I make this bigger? Hey, I can move me around. That's kind of cool. Sorry, I'm still figuring this whole thing out. But yeah, no, when they can't communicate it to you, that's rough. That's not fun. So yeah, you just got to keep that ego just out of the picture and just try new ideas, and try not to get mad at them. you know, but
This is a
yeah, that's definitely
demonstration
something.
of Wirecast.
Tips for ear training. Learn how to play every song you hear. When I was a kid, I couldn't walk by the piano at my parents' house without sitting down and just trying to play something. I'd hear a song and I'd try to. Maybe I wasn't good enough to figure out the chords. I didn't learn how to do that till college. But I would play the melody. I would play the bass line. I would play the drum part on the piano or on the bass or on the guitar. Like it didn't matter. I'd pick up an instrument and I'd play these different aspects of it. So
This
just
is a demonstration
try
of
to
Wirecast.
figure out everything you hear. And there's exercises you can do. Ignite Musical Training actually is a thing, a program that I put together. In fact, I'll put the hold on. Yeah, I'll put a link for it in here if you're interested in checking it out. It's a full music theory and ear training program that I developed, and there's things that you can do with intervals and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, really, it all comes down to just
This
how
is a
often are you
demonstration of Wirecast.
trying to play what you hear. So yeah, I would say if you're a Beatles fan, learn how to play McCartney's bass lines. Learn how to play what he's singing. Learn how to play what John's counterpoint is. Just like pick anything up. Ba da 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 da. Okay, go grab your bass and figure out how to play that melody. Yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Hold on, I lost where I was. Ear training. DJ, can you teach you how to play Bro Hymn? Nah, dude, you already know how to play that one, man. I've heard you.
Demonstration of
Colin, how's it going,
Wirecast.
dude? Good to see you. I'm sad I don't get to play with you this weekend. Okay, Colin, here's a good one. Oh, Terry, thank you. Yeah, I don't know what I said to you, but you're welcome. Colin says, recording dry and adding effects in post versus recording with effects. Which do you prefer? Depends on the instrument. For bass, I'll print it. I'm okay with it because I'm a bass player and I'm fine with that. In drums, I could do the same. If I was,
This is a demonstration of
miking up a drum
Wirecast.
set, I'll print it with EQ and compression. I'll run into EQs, compressors, and I'll hit it. I'll get it, 80% of the way I want it to sound, because I know how I want the kick to be, and I know how I want the snare to pop, and that's not going to change in mixing. I'm going to get closer to it. Vocals, I don't record much vocals, so that's kind of hard. I'm not very good at that one. So I'll record vocals dry. Guitars too. I'm not a guitar player, so more often than not,
This is a
will
demonstration of Wirecast.
I'll take a DI and I'll put two mics up and I'll make the decision later. Or I'll just really lean on the guitar player, kind of like what we were talking about with bass. Like I'll look at the guitar, like, hey, I'll put up the faders and what do you think of this sound? Is this cool? Like, is this good? Do you like it? Because I don't play guitar and I don't really know what I'm always after. So it depends on what I'm recording, Colin. But that's what I think. Probably most people will say. The benefit of committing is less decisions to
This is
make
a
later. But then the
demonstration
drag
of
is what if you made the wrong
Wirecast.
decision? It could go either way. Chris, Jamie, I'm not fast at scales, so I'm a slow hand as opposed to a fast hand, kind of duck done style. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong. You don't have to play fast or speedy. I mean, there's nowhere in the book that says that's a requirement. I don't even know where the book is. But yeah, Ducks, dude, he's one of my favorite bass players of all time. The guy reminds me of my dad a lot. My dad plays a lot like Donald did.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And Nikita says, Jamie, greetings from Russia. Hey, nice to meet you, Nikita. Sorry, where'd you go? Any tips on finding gigs that could pay the bills? Ideas on proper networking, where to find people. Hey, you know what, guys? Let's all chime in on this one. Man, that's the $1,000,000 question, quite literally. And, obviously, taking every gig you can find it helps a ton,
This is
so
a
does
demonstration of Wirecast.
doing a lot of free work in the beginning just to get your name out there. And here's something that I've learned recently is to start setting yourself at a specific price point. In other words, if you take a bunch of $100 bar gigs or whatever the equivalent is in Russia, you're going to get a lot more $100 bar gigs. And if you want to make the transition into $500 corporate events,
This is a demonstration
you got
of
to
Wirecast.
put yourself in that market and not take the $100 gig, at a certain point. And so I kind of came to this conclusion. I was reading an article in No Trouble that Damien Erskine had written, and I'm bastardizing what he said. But there was something to be said about that of just like, stating what your rates are, and when things come in that are underneath it, it's a standard of like, well, I don't leave the house for less than this much now. And that changes,
This
from time
is
to
a
time, season to
demonstration
season,
of
because
Wirecast.
I've been really busy in March. I didn't have a single date in January or February. I didn't play a single show. I didn't do a single record. And in March, for the past 3 weeks, I haven't slept. That's probably why I'm sick, is because I've just been busy with so much work. And so, yeah, I'll price myself differently in January and February than I will in wedding season in March and Christmas time, because gigs are popping then. So I don't know if that helps,
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
but specifically, yeah, things to pay the bills, more than likely you're looking at cover tunes. I've always found that to be the most stable. And also students. Teaching is a fantastic, it's obviously fulfilling as a human being. It's great to help people and coach them. But students are consistent. They show up every single week and they stick with you for a while. And so for me, yeah, the most consistent gig I've ever had has always been teaching. And as a teacher, also, it's a great way for you to learn
This
more
is a
yourself.
demonstration
Quite
of
often, someone will come in and say,
Wirecast.
"Hey, like, how do I do more of this?" I don't know how to do that, so I'm like, "Yeah, let's figure that out together." I'm gonna be able to get it quicker than you can, and then once I've got it, I'll show you how to do it. And so I learn a ton as a teacher. But being a teacher forces you to continue to be a student as well, besides just money. Chris says, sell yourself, but don't oversell yourself. Yeah, so, at the same time, if you're holding out for $5 gigs, but you've never done one before, well, maybe you got to do those $50, $80, $100 ones for a year or whatever, and then
This
start
is
to
a
price yourself up into
demonstration
the
of
higher ones.
Wirecast.
Hey, Simon. Hey, Jamie. Hi from Devon, UK. Hey, UK. Nice. Awesome. Cool. Could you share advice on the best study roadmap for really getting my reading skills up to speed? You know what? As a I'm stumbling on my words. There's a book that all double bass players go through called Samandal. In fact, I'm going to pull it up on Amazon. I'll share a link with you. I know I keep saying it, but I'm sorry my voice sounds so awful. My throat's really hurting. Oh, shoot, I just closed the window. Dang it, hold on. It's referred to as the Bass Bible, is a book by Samandal. So, Simon, I just shared that. And this takes you through how to read on the double bass This book was written in the 1800s, I think, or early 20th century. Certainly well before there was an electronic bass guitar. But, the double bass is our big brother. So it takes you through a classical curriculum on how to read. But 90% of it will translate. Obviously, the bowings you can ignore, but it's a very methodical. Simon, yeah, you're welcome. It's a very methodical way to learn how to play the bass because it starts in the lower positions. So you'd be working on frets like 1, 2, and 3 on all the strings, and then it moves you up to frets 2, 3, and 4 on all the strings. Then it moves up to it progressively works up the neck, and then by the time you get to the 12th fret, the whole thing just repeats itself. So if you can play through that book, you can pretty much read. Now, sight reading, hold on, let me, roadmap, okay, you just said reading skills. So sight reading is a different thing where I am not a good sight reader. I can read, obviously. If you put a piece of music in front of me, I wouldn't not be able to play it, but it would take me more than one time to get it right, probably, depending on how difficult it is, versus your Philharmonic, crazy musicians. Damien Erskine's another amazing sight reader who just, no matter what it is, you plop it in front of them and they'll be able to read it. So how do you get good at that? Well, dude, how did you get good at reading English? You started with Green Eggs and Ham, and there's a Walk It in My Pocket, and books that had, a picture on every single page or whatever. And then, you got to the point where pretty much, I could read any of these words that are on my screen. I could read anything that's on the, whatever. So, yeah, so just the frequency at which you read will make those types of things easier. So, yeah, Simon, check out that book, work your way through it, and then, just buy a bunch of bass clef, treble clef, tenor clef, alto clef, like anything. Just read a page a day. Man, that's a good way to do it too. Or a paragraph or something. Hey, Mark, how's it going, dude? Just take 5 minutes a day and read a paragraph or a sentence or just whatever it is, whatever you can do. I used to set a timer where I would. I just read for 5 minutes. The timer would go off, and I'm like, okay, cool. I read for 5 minutes today. Whatever. Okay, home. I'm going to answer just one more, and then I got to duck out because, guys, my throat's killing me. It says, hey, Jamie, I have really appreciated both your series, Playing Bass on a Worship Team and How to Get Hired. Well, thanks, dude. I'm glad you dig it. Is there anything from either of those series you wished you were able to cover? Probably there's things that I wish I could have executed better. There was one that came out recently on silence, on playing rests, and I've literally played, since doing that video, I've played 45 songs that would have been a better choice than the one that I chose to to demonstrate that. But yeah, obviously, it was an 8-week and a 12-week thing. There's way more to it than, just what I did in that series. But yeah, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything. But definitely the silence one, kind of, it just wasn't. That song wasn't a very good example. At the time I thought it was a good example, but I'm just saying, every Sunday at church I'll play another tune. It's like, oh man, that would have been so much better. Hey, Smitty, thank you so much, man, and all of you, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for hanging. And Makai, I hope this was beneficial for you. And I'll try to do this from time to time. I'll get better at it. There won't be this huge Wirecast logo that's in the background. And I'll try to turn this into something pretty cool. But yeah, anytime you guys have questions or specifically like technique stuff, anytime someone's like, hey, how can I get my technique better? Dude, just film a video, post it on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, whatever, and then just tag me in it or email me the video. And I'll chime in and I'll help you out with it. So, hey, guys, thanks so much. Have an awesome weekend. It's Friday. Go do something cool. I'm going to go to sleep and rest up. I'm going to try to get better. So, y'all take care, all right? And we'll see you next time.